What's the difference between an okay build and a best in show blue ribbon? It's in the detail, dude. It's all in the detail. In this video, I'm going to show you how to detail a build combining paint, skins, decals, and decorative blocks and all the other tools in my detailing toolbox. Let's get started. Now, placing a decal in Trailmakers is more flexible than you may think. It's easy to imagine it's like placing a sticker, and if you're doing something simple, it kind of is. But I think of it more like shining an X-ray flashlight. I know that sounds weird, but just hear me out. When you place a decal at an angle, the image stretches, like the beam of a flashlight. If the block has layers of detail, the decal will pass through all the layers and leave a copy of itself on each, like some kind of highfalutin X-ray beam technology. Now you have a lot of options in the decal menu to customize them, obviously size and color, but with the tiling and tiling offset options you can create some unique shapes and patterns. You may also find some unexpected shapes hiding in the vanilla image. Mirror mode works great sometimes, but it also has its limitations. As a player who learned to build long before mirror mode was a thing, I just don't use it. Because of this, I'm a master duplicator. Sometimes duplicating a block just works. Sometimes it's a struggle. When the block won't cooperate, it's okay to move it around and place it where it will. If the block is placed with a connection point on the side you want to mirror the image to, it will duplicate just fine. If not, you're going to need to get creative. Just move the block to any connection point where you can get it to mirror itself. On this build, I want this little decal on the outside of the block. But there's no direct way to get it to mirror to the opposite side of the build. So I duplicate it to the underside of the build, knowing that this will mirror the decal. Then I just have to move it into the place where I need it. Now, pinstripes are a classic way to decorate any vehicle. There's lots of ways to create them in Trailmakers. You can use an oversized decal and just place it on the edge of a block, then dupe the block. You can also combine the glow skin block and decals to make Tron stripes. If you don't have access to the glowing decals, you can use the glowing block skin and a vanilla decal to achieve a similar look. Just paint the block with the glow skin. Then create the stripe by covering most of the block with a vanilla decal. On this tank, I painted the panel block glowing red, then placed a decal over it at an angle that would expose only the glowing edge of the block. You can also combine lines and curves from multiple decals to get really fancy with it. Splitting the decal can really bring some high-level detail to your builds. Just place a decal over multiple blocks, then edit the angle and size of each individual block's decal. This can be used to create some really unique textures. Also, try changing the visibility and colors on each block for even more visual options. Lights have a way of making a build come to life. Blinking navigation lights, interior cockpit indicator lights, and even landing lights for your aircraft. But this big square panel is usually an awkward size and shape for most situations. There's lots of decals that allow you to use the negative space in the pattern for this. From a tiny dot to make a small light hole, to warning symbols and complex patterns for indicator lights. In this cockpit interior, I'm using 4 separate lights. One for vertical thrust active, one for down thrust active, one more to indicate my turrets are active, and another for my shields. Lighting effects are a tragically underused option in Trailmakers builds. I'll sometimes even use exterior lights to illuminate the build, and even spotlight my fleet insignia on my star cruisers. I'm also using taillights here to add some low-level interior lighting. Now, we talked earlier about pinstripes. You can use light panels to take pinstriping to a whole other level. First, we place a row of light panels, then a decal to make them show only a thin stripe on each. To customize the color of the stripe, add an OR gate and adjust the output to change its color. The positive range will give you colors, and the negative range will give you shades of gray. You can also adjust the delay and repeat in tiny increments to get a pulsing stripe. Now, decals are only visible from the direction they were placed from. This property can be used to make unique shapes for your cockpit canopy or whatever window you want to look through. Sometimes it takes more than one decal to create the shape you want. You can place a background decal, then place a panel block with the glass texture over it, and layer a second decal over the first. With some piston magic, you can even create a third layer. Now, I've been thinking about trying to recreate my channel graphic in Trailmakers for a long while now. Kinda didn't think it could be done, at least done well. But after writing and recording this video, I realize I totally can. It's really not practical to put it on a build, but that's never stopped me before, so here it is. Now, piston and hinge glitching is the doorway to unexpected shapes and details. You can add so many extra bits to whichever build group makes sense, leaving unexpected shapes and textures peeking out. Now, we call this a glitch, but the game is actually doing exactly what it was designed to do. Here's how it works. When you exit build mode, the game welds the build together, so it doesn't need to render it as a jillion blocks. A simple build with no moving parts will create a single weld group. But when your build has moving parts like wheels that turn, wings that flap, or turrets that turret, it creates multiple weld groups. So be aware, every time you use a mechanical block like a hinge, servo, or a piston, you're creating a new build group in addition to your primary group. The primary build group and your secondary build groups should have no interaction with each other. However, if there are more than one secondary build group, they will have potentially chaotic interactions. For this demo build, the primary build group is painted gray. The red, blue, and green parts are all secondary build groups. So you can merge build group 1 into build group 2, but never build group 2 into build group 3 or 4. With a piston, it's pretty simple. All you really need to do is set the piston starting position to 0. Then when you exit build mode, the piston will automatically contract. With hinges, you'll need an always-on switch. This is a logic sensor that will automatically activate a hinge for you when you exit build mode. A distance sensor placed to detect the block next to it, or an altitude or gravity sensor can also work well, depending on where you intend to use the build. Like in space, a gravity sensor doesn't make much sense, right? You can also use this always-on switch to activate light panels for aesthetic lighting. Now, combining all these methods can lead to some truly inspiring builds. Trailmakers has loads of decorative blocks. I'm not just referring to the blocks in the Decorative tab. Engines, shield generators, RC blocks, they can all be used as decorative blocks as well as their intended purpose. On the rear of this Destiny 2 ship, I used a variety of objects: smoke dispensers, lantern lights with a rearview mirror, pipes, signal flares, all attached to the upper section of my cockpit canopy piston. They merge into the build and peek out, breaking up the vanilla shapes of the original blocks. Now, greebles are a super easy way to add some detail to your build. The only problem is that they're obvious. I don't like obvious, so I use them sparingly, and I rarely use the glowing parts. They are in fact the most obvious part of the block. I prefer to paint the glowing parts black, and then I'll add my own glowing decals to mix up the look of them even more. Now, any one of the techniques I talked about in this video will bring a more finished look to your builds. But it's when you apply them all, or at least as many as is appropriate for the build you're working on, that it really comes to life and kind of tells its own story. Speaking of stories, having a backstory for a build may be the most important aspect of detailing. What's the build for? Who built it? Was it built in a factory or hacked together with makeshift tools in a junkyard? Was it made by robots or maybe some Chirpo engineers? I did a whole video just on this subject a while back, so if you're up for a little homework after this one, I encourage you to check it out. I'll link it in the description. I hope you found something useful in this detailing masterclass. If you did, click the thing. I'll see you in the next one, Trailmaker. Peace.